live. Okay, we're live.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming to our meeting tonight. Please help me open with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May we have the roll call?
Trustee Grimm?
Here.
Trustee Jessberger?
Here.
Trustee Clark?
Here.
Fiscal officers here. Superintendent of Public Works and Township Administrator.
Here.
Chief Fire.
Here.
Chief Police.
Here.
And Code Compliance.
Here. Sorry, Mike. Don't sorry.
Do these things time out?
They shouldn't time out.
Because it just turned off, but now I was turning back on. And it's flashing again. These ones seem to be better than such. Turned off. Okay. All right, so the next meeting is February 4th, 2025 at 999 Chambers Road at 6 p.m. And so just like from the last meeting, just as a reminder, we did change the meetings back to the first and third Tuesdays of the month. We'll keep the rotation the same and the time will be the same. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda with flexibility.
All right. Trustee Grimm seconded that. Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
All right. And then briefly, to the flexibility, February 1st is Ohio Township Day. And so it is a day that we honor and recognize township officials and employees and promote grassroots government. So please look to our social media where Deborah will post some fun information about Ohio Township Day. And then on to the mission statement and vision statement. So I put this on the agenda because in one of my grad school classes, we were talking about organizations, difference between the public sector, private sector, all of that kind of stuff. And so I had to actually do a big project. So I picked Clinton Township, and so I had to interview Dave Medley and ask him a bunch of questions. And as I was going through the class, doing my own research, I realized that our police and fire departments both have mission statements, but the township in general does not have a mission statement or a vision statement. And I know that that's been a conversation that Deborah and I have had before about the need for that. So we know on a daily basis that our township provides a lot of different services. There's usually no questions asked about it because everybody has a role to play. But I also think that having a mission statement and a vision statement is a way to constantly look back to what the purpose is of our township and as our leadership and what we should be providing to our residents and our businesses. So I brought it up last Friday and the department had a leadership meeting that I had here, and I had asked Deborah, because I know that she was excited about doing this, for her to kind of take the lead on this and to kind of work with Dave. And so I am going to pass it over to Deborah to just kind of go over what she plans to focus on.
For the mission and vision statement, right now what we're doing is we're just compiling as a group a bunch of ideas because this initiative is a one that everyone ideally needs to be involved with. So if you have specific ideas on what information that you would like to see be a part of that. Right now, we're just kind of in the brainstorming idea, okay? So we can compile all that information, continue to have the ongoing meetings, and as a group, collectively decide which mission and vision statement would work best for our township and how we want to represent who we are and how we provide our services to all of our residents in a nutshell. So if you have any other specific ideas with respect to the mission or vision statement, just let me know, or just regarding that. But right now, we're just kind of in the idea generating stage. And then I'll be sending out more information that I've shared with past administration and leadership regarding information on developing the mission and vision statement and what that construction of a mission and vision statement should encompass and entail. So at this point, that's just where we're at with trying to move forward. It's not going to happen in a week or a month. It'll probably take it might take, several months or maybe even till the end of the year. Who knows?
Thank you for quarterbacking that. Are you going to take input from, obviously all of us, and then if residents, are you going to offer them to?
We haven't just
input
talked
like
about
that?
the residents being a part of the organizational mission and vision
Okay.
statement. Typically, in developing an organizational mission statement, it's an internal process, again, that involves everyone's input with respect to leadership, staff, employees,
Yeah.
to all give the individuals an opportunity to develop.
Now, when you say past leadership, what are you talking about?
We've had
Past
conversations
leaders?
like with the township administrator, Matt Huffman. We had conversations with both Matt, and when I say we, I mean me, Jane and Matt had discussions. I've also had one-on-one discussions with both Trustee Justberger and Trustee Grimm. I think first few months I was on board with Clinton Township to perhaps entertain developing one for the township, an overarching mission and vision statement that would also possibly incorporate both fire and police.
Okay, yeah. Because I know in the past, like when we were talking about the survey about Rochelle being over on the west side, works in marketing and like promotion and things like that, and she had offered to do that kind of thing along with the survey development too. That maybe she'd be one key resident that we could work with that's got experience in doing that.
And
Just
that,
an idea, whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we
were
can.
asking for ideas, so that's just an idea.
We can have a conversation
Okay.
about it further. I have a background in my degrees in organizational leadership, and that was one of the things that I really
Good.
identified as a need for the township. But we can, have more conversations on who we want to be involved with that development.
Thank you, Jess, for taking a grad class and educating us on bringing us up to a grad level.
And we are not looking to get rid of the mission statements for fire or police because they need to have their own. But they will be a part of the development, so. Awesome. Any other discussion on that? All right, on to survey discussion.
Well, it goes back to September when I was trying to take the initiative to get responses from the community, and at that time it was felt by various people, leadership, that if we did it, it was gonna harm the levy effort of the police, so we decided to pass on that, and didn't end up costing it one way or the other. But communicating with Rochelle, she's still interested in helping to rewrite the survey, and along with Deborah, figure out the technology to get it sent out. And so, anyway, this is like the response from Rochelle this afternoon, and what the other survey looked like, and one we might start with. She's willing to help whoever put the questions together.
When is the next deadline for the next newsletter?
End of March. Typically that goes out at the end of March, right, right after spring.
What's
And
the
because-
deadline? When do you want the information? What's the deadline you want information by?
As soon as possible.
I guess that's what I meant, like,
Yeah.
what was your deadline for us submitting articles to you?
For the group to submit articles, with respect to the newsletter and other 2025 initiatives, I have that on the agenda. If we can have that conversation at that time, but what's specifically to have the information for the survey, because I'll be developing that with inside of the web form for our Civic Plus platform that we currently use. I would like to have that if possible, as soon as possible.
And that's why I want to start the discussion now.
Yeah,
because
I'd
I
like to
don't
have
want-
it next week if I could wave a magic wand and
There's-
have it
it's
by
already
next
exists.
week.
It's there. It already exists. I mean, he's gonna work on it, you can work on it, but there's a solid, good draft ready 3 months ago.
So
Okay, it was,
what I'm saying is I want to get it done so that it doesn't impede on your
Timelines,
time.
whatever.
and that's
Then
what
you're
I
gonna
want to
take the
discuss
document
is my
newsletter.
timelines, is because I thought that you still wanted to tweak it. I thought we were still waiting on it to be edited by Rochelle and other residents. So I had already started compiling it or creating it in the web form and then paused because it was my understanding and trying to get that information and sending the emails, what the next step was.
Well, and
I thought
to
that,
my sense, it was done in September, and I was told to not do it. So Rochelle went through it and she agreed on those things, and that's what the email that I included you on earlier today. So it is ready for you to,
the email you sent today?
yep,
Okay,
that I communicated back and forth with Rochelle. So you have the format, unless somebody gives other feedback, the one that she helped edit.
okay,
She took mine and edited it, and then it's been out there for 4 months to have anybody else provide the same kind of feedback. And so everybody's kind of had a chance over the last 4 months to provide
Okay.
that feedback. So whatever feedback you got from other people, I think to not impede on your, like, time developing the newsletter, I would like to, like, put a final, if you have any feedback, like 1 week from today, the 4th of February, it needs to be finalized and ready to go on the 5th of February.
okay. So, yes, I was needing to find out what type of edits were going to happen with respect to the other residents' input before I would move
Well, Rochelle's the
forward.
only one that's offered to help.
Oh,
The only one we've gotten any feedback on, and I haven't gotten any feedback from anybody else in administration, because they all agreed with the questions in September. I haven't gotten any of the feedback on the questions over the last 4 months, and it being open and offered to do that. So my sense, in my mind, it's ready to go right now, because Rochelle's given her input, and no one else has provided any kind of.
so nothing's changed on the
Nothing's
survey
changed.
since the last survey that we got last fall?
Right, in September.
There's been no changes? Okay,
The one that Rochelle has that she went through and made a few changes, and that's was shared, and that's been out there for 4 months for people to give feedback. And I've heard no feedback since then, so I would just assume everybody was like, okay, it's ready to go, so.
May I give one suggestion?
Sure, that's what we're looking for.
I would suggest that because we did ask to hold off on this, that, what was the date you gave? By the 4th?
Next, the 5th. You ready?
He said 4th, but
The
whatever.
4th, like a week, to make changes, any
Okay.
beds that you want to do.
So-
things.
Allowing for us to just review the questions one last time,
It's fair, it's
and
fair.
then we can, if we have a suggestion or we have a change or whatever, then who should we send it to? Should we send it to Deborah?
I think Deborah, Rochelle, I think everybody, just so everybody kind of knows what they're thinking, so I would say any of the administration, including Rochelle and Deborah, just so everything's on the same.
By the 4th.
Yes, yeah, like a week, yeah, no,
So can I also comment?
I'm not gonna tell you no, go ahead.
So for the one question, over the past 12 months, how would you rate township code compliance staff regarding code enforcement? I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily understand what that role does. If you could like give specifics as to what they're rating, or just kind of a general definition, like this this is what this person does, so that they can at least have a general idea in case they don't know the title, then they would be able to understand who it is that they're referencing. Just to, I don't know, it just seems kind of vague, and a lot of people don't necessarily know what that role is. The other one that
Just
I,
like this, Dan, what, you don't have a copy, so you should. It's general in nature, but I think I would like to find out if people even know we have code compliance, and if they answer like, if they say NA, they use A.
Sure, no idea what the accounting entails. I don't disagree with the brief description or what kind of position, what I do, so people have an idea, oh yeah, I've seen that, I've seen them, I've had contact with them, or I've called in and I've spoken with them.
Could you just write up something in?
Yeah,
Send it
absolutely.
together?
can we make it a two-part question? Like, have you ever heard of our code compliance department? Generally speaking, you would interact with them on these for these reasons, and then the second one would be like, how would you rate those services, or what? You know what I mean? Just like make it a two-part question.
Well, I mean, that's up to you folks. I was just asked by David just to provide a brief description of what
Description
the
of
job
what
is,
code compliance
so that
is.
they know what they're answering
Because
questions to.
they can
Whatever
answer
you
NA,
folks choose to
they
do,
have no
that's
idea.
fine by me.
The answer NA, they like, I don't even clue what that is.
Right.
Yeah, like when I jumped into this effort last fall, I had a similar reflection as Trustee Grimm. It's hard to ask folks questions when a lot of our residents aren't even aware they live in the township. Cool, you're getting a newsletter that you didn't know. So as far as that first question about these meetings, I put a little bit of education in there because we just hopscotch locations. So I agree with you, but at the same time, not to overthink it, that getting something out the door would be helpful than us just not hearing from residents. So I think everybody's had a good effort so far. We brought more attention to it, and there'll be more attention in the next
I
week.
agree with what you're saying.
My second comment was on, in the last 12 months, how would you rate the Township Public Works Department in park and green space maintenance? If we can just list the parks, because I don't want them to rate our Public Works Department based on like work that, like what if they're gonna be rating it on something that's,
Patterson,
That makes
Patterson's
sense.
not in our place.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. List the parks.
or like, they don't know like what's in Clinton, what's Franklin County and what's not, so just specifically what do we maintain? So that they're not like, oh, Blendon Woods, that's awful. Like, yeah, we have nothing to do with Blendon Woods.
I mean, surveys are funny. Somebody said about windmills, they're confused why they turn them off sometimes. So, windmills don't spin when there isn't wind. So I'm just saying that you get any kind of response with surveys. But this is a nice balance to try to do some education, but more asking.
Yeah, because I think that helps,
I mean,
Yeah.
people are going to the thing and then they look at this and they go, what is code
Can you
compliance?
come up with a list for us?
Yeah, there's like 3 parts.
Yeah. We have a lot of caring
Chambers,
people.
circle,
We're trying not to overthink it.
chambers, I mean, the is the playground, the flower beds, they're on its
There's a playground in the rear of that.
How about
Case
triangle?
Road Gardens.
so just whatever those are, I'll put a list, put that on.
Is there, this is electronic, right?
Mhm.
We could just put a link to the code compliance page, like in it.
Okay.
That might be, if we don't want to like put too many words on this, that might be helpful. But I do think that the list of the parks, so that they don't think about parks that we don't maintain and
That's a good idea, we could do that,
like that.
because we could like create the link just by code compliance, and if you click on code compliance, that's a good idea.
You're welcome.
So what I'll respectfully request then, since we're still doing a little bit more tweaking on this,
Yep, and you'll be included in all the edits.
to get the final draft version, we get the links and everything else that you want to incorporate after this discussion. And then what I can do is send that out to everybody to see if they wanted to do any other edits.
Okay, so what would be a better day for me to meet with you, Monday or Tuesday? Next week, and then we
either-
can send it out.
Either day's fine.
Right, you
Either
tell me.
day's fine.
And when can you block the time out for me next week? tell me.
Monday's fine. The sooner
What
the
time?
better.
What time, 10 or 11?
10 o'clock.
8:30.
I can be here, I'll be here at 7.
No, she said 10.
Okay, it's fine.
Simply because we have our meeting on the 4th, so I want to get everything as
Right.
tight as we
Right.
can to distribute it to everyone on the 4th, and then the following day, I can
Absolutely.
start working on finalizing it
And
in the web form.
we'll go over like what we just talked about, and then any other feedback we have to that point, we'll send it out, and then
Yeah,
give people a couple days
Sounds
to
good.
to
perfect.
respond. Okay, thanks.
And one of my dreams with any survey is, you're not gonna get a ton of takers, but maybe 6 months from now, if they're fruitful, release the survey results. And that perhaps, I don't wanna overthink it, but perhaps every spring you do some kind of mild survey, and in the fall release the results. Because that tends to make people click more, and everybody loves reading the results, they don't like taking the time to do the survey. So I have found that people read survey results, they're more primed to take the survey next time. But if it's only 2 people participate and it's not helpful, maybe not.
We got 22 last year on our road survey.
I know, I was typing that up 2 days ago.
So we'll have this, obviously, in the newsletter
Right.
as a QR code and also a link.
Yep.
And then we'll also push it out, social media as well.
Maybe push
so-
out before then, but it'll
Okay.
definitely be backed up in the newsletter for those that don't have the electronic part.
Mhm. And I know the newsletter we had in '21, they actually had all the questions. It wasn't as comprehensive, however, in the
Yeah.
newsletter for the folks who have technology
Right.
challenges.
Right.
And they filled them out and mailed them in.
Well, we can even like put it on there that they're available in the lobby of
Okay.
the township, and we can print them up and people can come here and pick one up and fill it out by hand too.
Could we put them in the little box that's outside
Mhm.
999?
Right. Yep. Perfect.
Any other discussion
No, Thank you.
on it? Okay. This is our new section called public comment. Do we have any public comments?
Public comment on what?
Do you want to say anything? It was mostly put on there for if like somebody isn't like regularly coming to meetings and they're coming for like a single issue kind of thing, they don't have to sit through an entire meeting.
So this is new to have this section on the agenda. It was his attempt to not make somebody wait till the end to say, my neighbors never put their trash cans away, I'm really upset about it. So,
They can have their say, so if there's nobody who wants comments, it's just
I imagine you want to say something about the fire department and, you know,
Well, I would like to say something about that.
Here's your chance.
You probably all saw an email that I sent to you in which I said that as much as I love Brian and as much as I love the firefighters, I'm adamantly opposed to a fire levy because that fire levy is going to undermine anything we try to do with the police and road. And it's at this point, the fire department is just going to drive us into the black, and into the red, and something needs to be done about that. So I am adamantly opposed to a fire levy.
Any other public comments? All right, on to the fiscal officer.
So I've been blowing up your emails with drafts of meeting minutes from last year. I think I have 5 or 6 more meeting minutes to go. I would like to get them all approved a week from now because I learned that I have to send every time we've amended appropriations, I have to send that off to the folks who type our meeting minutes. So I have a good idea of how many times that's happened, but it's not legally approved until you guys approve the meeting minutes. So this is a bottleneck I've never had before because I've never delayed this much on getting meeting minutes typed up. But I might be making these 365 links instead of blasting you with every edit on the emails. So however you want to make edits to the minutes, let me know, and I hope to approve a lot, maybe all of them a week from now.
Well, I can say I was doing some edits today, and I had to go back and find all of my notes from last year. So I would ask that the minutes be done in a timely manner, and typically try not to fall more than like a month behind.
Well, it's still a favor that I type them up, so I will do that, but if somebody'd like to help, that would be great.
Who would help?
Anybody, it's not my call.
What, help you with the minutes? I'll help
You do, Bobby, I just mean,
Like writing them up, like the FO office is in charge of
I'm sure.
keeping the record, but nowhere is it stated they have to take the minutes, they have to create the minutes.
This is a somewhat gray area, but the ORC does not say the FO has to write them. I have to review them before they're presented to the board. After they're approved, I'm the keeper of records. So most townships, the FO does it, and I've done it the 11 years I've been here. Me also being in grad school last year, I didn't stay caught up, so I'm going to try to keep us caught up, but it's not solely my responsibility to prepare them. I have been, I'll get us caught up, just would like some help.
Can an assistant help?
No, she doesn't attend these meetings. It would be redundant for her to, instead of working on forecasts, watch these videos. I'm doing them, I was just asking for help, that's all.
See, I'm very happy to help you do it.
You have been, Bobby. Thank you.
Do you have anything else you want to?
No, that's it, sorry. Thank you.
All right, on to committee and team reports. Chief Rayleigh with the chat.
The January 24th free produce market, we distributed 10,000 pounds of food to 476 individuals. Our next market will be February 14th, 4 to 6 p.m. at this location.
We're handing out Valentine's.
No.
And I have something that I need to present to Chief Rayleigh. So today at the chat summit, on behalf of the township, being one of the co-chairs, I did accept this certificate of recognition as it is presented to Clinton Township Community Health Action Team. At the annual chat summit, the certificate is presented on the 28th day of January 2025. So I would like to present this to Chief Rayleigh.
wonder if we could get something like that framed and start putting this stuff in the lobby so that people can really recognize things that our township is being recognized for. With your work, Jess's work, put a way to like display those kind of awards. Bring out some police awards and just start using that lobby wall to, as our, what do you call it?
We're starting to get a good collection, so I think that would be a great idea. Yeah.
An honor wall or a brag wall, whatever they call it.
Thank you for your willingness to bring a chat here. It allows us to do a lot of amazing things with our residents, so it's exciting.
Thank you.
Was there anything else with chat?
I know we're working on coming up with a schedule for all of our events for 2025. With as many as we did last year, post-COVID, we really had a busy year. So we're trying to nail those events down to a regular schedule. And hopefully we'll have that within a month or so. I know right now, the next one that we have planned is our Senior Resource Day, which is May 20th at 10 a.m. here at this location. And that'll be actually Senior Options, I believe, is who's hosting that for the chat. But we'll have upward of 20 different resources for seniors here in this room, different activities to occur. And again, that'll be from 10 to noon.
And we actually connected with someone that sat at the table today. So Deborah and I have her business card. She's with the Alzheimer's Association. And she would be great to add to our vendor list as well. So we'll get that information to you. Okay, on to beautification work group.
I have been sick, so we haven't had a chance to get together, but Deborah, I was hoping that we could meet soon to talk about what we're gonna do this year.
Sounds like a plan. Let me know when you're available.
Budget work group.
We're gearing up to start that probably late next month.
The second meeting of February, we can do a look back of the 2024 numbers. I have sent out year-end December appropriation and receipt account status reports. I don't foresee those changing, like I could have brought forward the December fiscal report and approved it, but we're just holding off a bit because if we're getting invoices dated in 2014, we're trying to tag those against last year's purchase orders. So the budget working group has not met, but we had a lot of discussions last year about the importance of checking in on the numbers quarterly. And we'll take more time at I think it's February 18th would be the second meeting in February to review the 2024 numbers. If the board would like to have a meeting in addition to that, we can set that. But my goal is to just take more time during these regular session meetings to do a quarterly look back, and we'll start that on February 18th.
I would like that. The Joint Economic Development Zone Board update.
Well, so I'm on that board, and there was discussion about even a year ago that the Gen Z board is going to hire a consultant to help with economic development. So that person, it was going to be a team or a person is going to be contracted at about 20 hours a month. Yeah, 15 or 20. It might be ebbs and flows. I don't think there's a time frame on this. I kept talking about 2 years just to help develop relationships, but I think annually this board will review that agreement. The Gen Z board might choose to consult with a different economic development team. So I think it's a good use of resources. The Gen Z board is also going to probably move to have a 2% pull from this resource instead of a 1%. Right now it's been a 1%, but if we're going to keep paying for this person, they'll probably up it back up to 2%.
They didn't do that.
I don't
think they did. Megan keeps talking about it.
It was originally 2%, and then right about the
Okay, then we did.
2019, we lowered it down to 1% because I raised a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, then we did already.
Last-
take
So
that.
last week, they put it back up to 2%.
Okay.
Probably needs to now.
And there was a good, caution from them that this consultant isn't gonna do economic development for us, that we have been paying more attention to this, but that's just that they will get things started, but it's on our staff's behalf to kind of see economic development through. Do you all have anything else to add to it? These two also attend the meetings.
I was gonna say, Dave, you want to say something?
Yeah, you should cover it all. Well, we'll say one thing is the JIDSI board kind of looks like maybe they can do this for 2-3 years, maybe 4 years, but at some point, maybe the town would hire somebody as an economic development coordinator. That way they, get this up and going through the firm, and hopefully someone will take a hold and take it on as their responsibility. And hopefully over 3-4 years, you generate a lot more funds. Because it'll take a certain kind of person to be able to be in tune with what's going on with the building and the spaces and within our township.
I mean, it's interesting that we've had that revenue, really the whole time I've been here, luckily for me and us. So the revenue was held pretty steady or slightly increased. In a normal world, it would go up about 3% a year or 2% because people's incomes tend to go up 1 to 3% a year. So we've held steady, we've lost some businesses have come in. But according to people who are in this business of economic development, you usually see more of like a 5% increase, let's say, every year. So we're doing fine, but as I worry about our voters hitting levy fatigue, I think this is a more volatile, I learned that during COVID. Real estate doesn't switch around as much as people going to shop or not, but our income tax is becoming more and more important as time goes on. And we are pretty prime that we're 25-minute drive up to Intel, so it would be great if we can attract more businesses in this growth that Central Ohio is going through.
Intel pull out?
It's changing names in NVIDIA or something, but they are not giving up on building a chip center out 25 miles away from us. Which is why those are going up.
They're the ones that go in townships that
Aetna.
they're fighting, the board's fighting to the point where companies are like, we don't want to go into that township.
Things are getting just very stressful around that development. We can be thankful we don't live in its backyard, but we're right next to its backyard. So anyway, Clinton Township has done well with our economic stuff. We've done fine. We did not take a dive during COVID like some municipalities did because we've got grocery stores and people are going to go to grocery stores either way. We have medical facilities. That's our biggest contributor is Martha Morehouse. So, for better or worse, people still go to the doctor even during COVID. So we held steady, and hopefully with people who do economic development full time, we could be in more rooms and have more opportunities instead of kind of getting driven around or bulldozed over.
Dan, did you have anything to add?
Well, I think the one thing that the finding an economic development person was having somebody in the room when these big discussions are going on with Columbus and Franklin County, which is one of the benefits of choosing to have an economic development person available for that. That they'll be more in the know instead of like occasional calls that Dave might get, or you hear something about a piece of property. We'll be more in the know and more able to act and offer a tip or whatever incentives we may be able to provide. So I think that was one of the other big benefits as well.
And if folks didn't know, our code compliance officer is also on that board. So next time we do an update, we will share this announcement.
That's fine. No, you did fine. I'm perfectly happy.
No, I just folks should know that it's good of you to be on that board, and it does matter with economic development. So
Yeah, 'cause
it's
you're
not
out
your
there.
primary job, but you are certainly in the mix of things happening and changing, and hopefully improving in the township.
Well, keeping our community clean and neat and organized and helping
Yeah.
people understand what the zoning requirements are, in my opinion, is also part of economic development. We're making our community pleasing for people that they want to come live and work here. So even though that's not really economic development, I feel that it's a part of it, and that we're trying to attain that goal through what we're already doing with some of the things.
That's an excellent point, Dan, thank you.
I have a follow-up question, and it's okay if you have to get back to me if you don't know the answer, but whatever happened to our survey with Regionomics? Didn't we pay him money to do a survey on our businesses?
It was, from what I understand, was put on hold until once the JEDZ board decided they was gonna hire a firm, that kind of got put on hold.
We'll look into that, if we send him any money, where it's at.
I'm pretty sure we sent him 15,000 or 20,000.
Well, he did
Well,
do
he
2
completed.
studies,
Okay.
which the JEDZ board paid for. I think we paid them and then they refunded us. I'm on that board, so I refunded us or whatever. But you're right, either way, that there is something going on with Reaganomics, they were good reports, and we were gonna do a follow-up survey with businesses, so we should just revive that effort.
I thought we had paid him, but if we didn't, then
We did pay him a little bit, it wasn't very much to develop a survey. He sent it out for reviews, and at that time, everyone, I believe, from what I understand, everyone said, well, let's just put this on hold until we see what the JEDZ board's gonna do with the consultant.
okay.
So a consultant has been hired, we will do our homework to see where that was left off, and then
Thank
we
you.
will not let that consultant be bored.
That may be something that because the consultant wants to reach out to all these businesses.
Yeah, that would be a
also.
really nice
Yeah.
So
way
he
for,
may be able to take that survey,
yeah.
we may be able to use that in conjunction with the new firm to utilize it.
It's a good reminder.
Thanks.
Keeping on with the agenda, on to administration.
Okay, I got, first thing I have is an update on electrical repairs over 999 Chambers Road, so we can get that facility opened up for some other use other than our meetings. We had one electrician we reached out to, they did not show up, so I reached out to another electrician, and I met with them yesterday. So hopefully by the end of the week, I'll have some quotes on updating electrical issues and putting the exit signs in for our insurance. Kim Arnold.
And then we met.
And then, Mike, you were working on cameras, is that part of what he's doing too?
We're kind of working together on it. I'm gonna meet with that contractor. He's gonna give me a couple days when he can come out. And we're looking to use the solar system over there instead of connected to the electric. So if we do lose power, we won't lose the cameras. So,
Thanks for hooking on to the
And I have a suggestion of an electric company, but I don't want to promote them on the mic, so.
Okay, yeah. From the meeting we had last week with Jess, it was brought to attention about the signage that we have over there on our board. It's still promoting the fire department, police department there. So we may, I looked at it today or yesterday. It's on the board, we can actually get some vinyl and cover them 2 emblems up, so we would just still have our board there saying that is ours. And when under flexibility, I got another thing that came across my desk this afternoon. I request a motion to authorize Dave Medley to sign the agreement with Franklin County Board of Elections to use the township facility at 999 Chambers Road for a polling location in 2025.
Second.
This is a motion, right, or is it a resolution?
Motion.
It's a motion, okay. First by Jess, and I think I heard Rebecca get the second.
I actually think it was Dave.
All right, Dave gets it.
But we kind of tied, but I'll give it to him.
I'm doing the roll call in order of who seconded it, not to overthink stuff, but trustee Clark,
Yes.
trustee Jessberger,
Yes.
trustee Grant.
Yes.
That is all I have.
Okay. All right, Chief Rayleigh?
We request a resolution declaring intent to proceed with the election on the question of a replacement tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation.
Second.
discussion, or you want me to do the roll call?
Roll call, please.
Okay, so Rebecca seconded that. Trustee Grimm,
Yes.
trustee Jessberger,
Yes.
trustee Clark.
Feel like we gotta support our fire department. And for our voters are serving or ready to keep getting slapped down with. I mean, I'm just, the effect it's gonna have on other services. That's the issue.
3 yes. That'll be up to the voters.
Thank you, that's all we have.
Chief Jones?
The only thing I have this evening, just advice the board discussion. Before COVID hit, we annually had criminology students from Ohio State University and Home State Community College, similar to what Brian did with the mental health resources. This year we had a request from a University of Alabama student, Kaylee Ross. Her family is friends with one of our fire lieutenants, and so we made a call or two, spoke with her family. They are going to provide residency here while she's here during the summer. Typically, these are summer internships of about 140 hours, and she'll be working with myself, Lieutenant McCoy, and learning police records and those functions with Cassidy up front. So for the month of May and June, she'll be here for her summer quarter. And it's an unpaid internship.
How many hours did you estimate that?
It's about 120, 140 hours.
It's cool we're getting national attention. Something all the way
Some of
out
our former interns work for federal agencies. One of our interns several years ago actually went to a major metropolitan police department in Texas and was in their homicide unit. So we've had very good success with our interns that have come through.
That's great.
That's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Public Works doesn't have anything?
I was just gonna mention that the crew's been pretty busy the last couple of weeks on snow removal. Hope everyone's been satisfied with what they've done. We had a couple comments on Facebook that people was pleased with the snow removal.
That's nice.
They finally removed the cones on 8th Avenue, pollution, traffic impediment.
Oh, I have.
I had just a couple brief things. I sent some photographs out to the trustees. I received information on Monday about a homeless camp on the back of the property at 945 Chambers, which is a vacant home and has been vacant for about 10 years. I brought that to Chief Fraley's attention. I know he did go over there yesterday to try to make contact with whomever may be living there. That is private property, so it's not anything where the police department can go onto the property and take enforcement unless the property owner wants something done with criminal trespassing. The individual who owns it actually lives in the Louisville, Kentucky area, and I had a violation with him last year where he never came back to me in person. I had another one that came up on January 14th for the condition of the property. And I actually turned that one over to Franklin County Zoning, allowing them to do that, to see if I can actually get some sort of response back from the individual. I do have a phone number for him, and I sent him a photograph that I sent to you folks of the camp and told him it was on his property. I'm trying to keep communication with him to see what he wants to do with it. This isn't really about an enforcement action, but if there's an individual that needs assistance or help, that's why we're trying to do something with that. But it's incumbent upon the property owner to do something about that if they want. I received information about a resident that passed away on Radnor. I had a case open with him for continuing problems with trash in the yard and an inoperable vehicle. Fortunately, he passed away. Brought to my attention, I got a hold of public health because I was told the condition of the interior of the home was deplorable and really should not have been inhabited. Fortunately, that person's family, there's a son that stepped up and he has been cleaning out the property. If you were to drive by, there's about 30 bags of trash sitting in the driveway, which represents one room. I was told that when you walked into it, that you're stepping up to about 4 to 8 inches. I don't know how that was, I wasn't there, but it was deplorable. So fortunately, they're taking care of that, and that family's working with me to try and keep me in the loop and let me know what's going on. The only other thing is that the construction of the public storage over at Northern Lights is going very quickly. I sent photos of that out to you guys also. And as I told David, part of the problem is that you guys aren't out on the street every day, so you're not going to know everything. So I feel responsibility as boots on the ground to let you ahead of the curve, though you're not going to have someone come up to you and ask you about something that you're not already informed about. Obviously, they're going to be through, but hopefully you guys will be able to be aware of what's going on and be in a position to respond. And that's all I have.
The police, fire, and public works is compiling specific statistical data and sharing that monthly in a social media post with specific data. It's not going to be comprehensive. It's just going to be kind of like a down and dirty snapshot. For example, Chief Fraley provided how many EMS runs, fire runs, and what was the other, the total, I believe.
Right.
So we'll be doing that every month for a post. And then we also have selected some specific categories from fire. Again, not every single category of the type of runs, just very specific ones. I think we decided on like how many traffic crashes, total runs for service, calls for service, and a couple other categories. So we're going to be refining that and pushing that out beginning of February for January stats. Then in March for February stats, so on and so forth. So each month it'll provide a snapshot to our residents as well as Public Works, how much runs or volume that we're collecting with, or what were some of the things we're talking about with the snow, for example, and providing that statistical data on a regular basis every month for our residents. I found this to be a common business practice with a lot of municipalities and township that post the information on the website. And so I've already moved forward with providing all the departments with that information, having those conversations, and kind of drafting out what that would look like, the visual on that. The chat summit today, I talked to Kavita, who heads up the chat for Franklin County Public Health, and through the presentation, there's a lot of great things that some of the other community partners are doing. So we can also try to incorporate some of those type of initiatives and events this year. One of the ones that I specifically liked was for September, for example, which is Emergency Preparedness Month. I think it was Upper Arlington. They had emergency preparedness kits that they put together for their community. I think they had like 50. So we were talking about things along those lines, where we would get the resources, where we would tap into Franklin County EMA and Homeland Security and some of our contacts that we have through the different agencies to see what kind of materials or donations that they, would have. So those were some great ideas to kind of see what some of the other townships and municipalities are doing, all things chat activities, and then also get some chat statistics as well. We talked a little bit about some of the amount of food that we distribute. We'll want to share that information as well with the community on a regular basis with social media with that statistical data each month. getting these statistics from Chief Fraley and sharing that on social media as well. How many families is the township, helping, and how many pounds of food, and some of the other statistics that we may be able to ascertain or compile and share with the community on a regular basis to spotlight that as well. Beautification, we're going to talk about what 2025 is going to look like, and that's a huge initiative as well. And then probably a lot more to come, but that kind of gives you an idea of what's on the radar. If you have any ideas or suggestions, reach out to me, and I'll be reaching out to you and sharing the information. I think that's all I have.
Awesome, thank you. I had also asked Deborah to update our township webpage. So for instance, getting pictures of Public Works, and having like the crew leader listed for someone to get a hold of, and not specifically just you, Dave. As well as potentially combining code enforcement and zoning on the webpage, with like a picture of Dan. And then like a more detailed description of exactly like what your position is. So just kind of updating the webpage in general.
Yes, specifically also because we're going to be providing the links in the survey. So we want to be able to provide, very succinct, detailed, comprehensive information as far as what each one of those departments or positions entail.
Agreed to meet with Deb to figure out exactly how they want to put that on there and get that on there. 'Cause I think
Yes.
that all goes with the budgeting, with the levy, with everything, and just being like more open, not more open, easier for people to find the information.
Right, so when they go to
Nothing's been hidden, it's just, let's make it easier for them to find it.
Correct. So, Deb, whenever you're available, we can set up a time to kind of review that information and see what type of documents, fiscal documents you want forward-facing on the fiscal website.
Okay.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any appreciations?
I have one, Melissa today covered the front office from 11 to 4, which avoided Mike having to pay overtime to put an officer at the front desk. So she covered 5 hours at the desk today because it was due to scheduling or whatever. There was no one available to work in the office at noon, so she stepped up and covered the office today for 5 hours.
Mr. Clark took mine.
Oh.
And we sat down, got her operational on the phones and stuff, and stepped up in a big way to do it.
Boy, these halls are noisy, and they're wheeling a desk down the hallway. But, whatever.
If there's nothing else, then at this time, I would like to make a motion to enter into an executive session per ORC 121.22G1 to consider the employment, appointment, and compensation of public employees or officials.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Gephardt?